Good morning, guys. Welcome to this Tuesday, July 14th. And the earnings season has begun. We have the banks reporting and then reporting beats. They're doing well. And no surprises there. The trading revenue has been up, but they're doing well. The banks are doing well. That is starting off everything really good. A pretty good outlook on the earnings season. However, you had IBM come out and guide down on software. It's a big sell-off in IBM right now, and all the software names are selling off, like ServiceNow and Palantir and all those guys. They're selling off based on that. It's based. I guess it was some shift of spending towards AI infrastructure instead of traditional software. So. Uh, that's a big change, and they have it. This is not IBM reporting earnings. This is them just warning about an earnings miss coming up. So there you have it. So that's kind of what's going on in the market right here in the morning. The news this morning is going to be a pretty good news event, at least at 8:30 to get the CPI number. And then we have Kevin Warsh speaking at 10, and then we have a bunch of speakers in the afternoon as well. I just wish they could stop speaking, but I guess everyone's going to have that little speech. But today's news, CPI at 8:30, that's a big deal. And then we'll see the question there is really, is the inflation ticking up or is it staying stable? And what's happening with the energy inflation? Now, oil prices has been down from for the last month or so as they were discussing peace and when that MOU discussion was going on. Oil was coming down pretty good. So it's right now oil is back up to 80, 81, and that's because they have just launched or just informed Congress that they are back in major combat operations. So everything is changing. Takes a day, right? Major combat operations now declared, I guess, and earnings season picking up. We got some little softer scare going on, and of course we're going to get an inflation read. So that's what you have going on this morning. Market's kind of holding in a range. The Nasdaq's doing pretty good this morning. There's the retrace pretty good, but we'll see how this everything fares here as the CPI number comes out. So looking at the ES, we get started. You see my F1 here. We're still holding in this upper range. We had one nice probe here a few days back to the upper edges. We start folding this together. You can see that we are just trading in this range here again. And the 75.10 is the lower support area. That's still a decent volume edge. You have a pretty good one down here at the 74.60. You can start seeing that little low volume area in between start materializing. You can see this volume blurb or node up here start developing pretty well. So they're going back and forth, building value at the highs, and we'll see if if they're going to be able to hold on to this. A lot of stuff happening right now. Not by any means a boring summer in terms of news and politics and all that stuff. But what impacts the market is going to definitely be the oil prices. That the escalation in kinetic action and the oil prices popping up a little bit. The inflation rate is going to be a short-term impact here. Right now, we'll see if they comes out good. If that CPI read comes in as a kind of flat, kind of a line, then I think the market's going to like it. It's going to be a good sign. If it comes in hot, even if they had oil prices down, I think the market may be selling off. So those are options I would be looking for. But starting off today, range bound. We are trading right in this smack in this range. We just backed off the highs a little bit, so not a big deal. Trading in a range bound market, looking to sell strength against that 75.65s, the 75s, up to the 75.90s, 7600s, 7610. So you had the upper little resistance area I put in, that's 75.90 up to 7600. That's what that is, right? This upper area. But so if they start taking out this the 7600s, and you have the two levels, you have the 75.90, 7600, these two resistance areas. If they come out, I would be more inclined to lean in on the long side. If they take out the lows, and I would probably give it a little bit of room, let them take out that 75.10s, I would be more inclined to think there's something going on the short side. Otherwise, I would look to buy against support, against the 75.45s, the 75.30s, the 15s, down to the 7500s here for rotations back up. This area here, 7500 to 7510, that's right down here in this lower support area. So I would say 75.16 until 7500 here. These two support areas, if they come out, I would be a lot more inclined to lean in on the short side. So we're trading pretty much in the middle of that range, as you can tell on the F1. And so trade it as a range-bound market to get started. If the news comes out in about 20 minutes, it's going to be it causes volatility, but not any directional moves. Fine, then we let's go fall back on the range-bound trading. If we for some reason get a directional move, then we try to trade that direction. But it has to be pretty convincing directional move. I think it's going to be more of a volatility, but not directional kind of reaction, and then we'll see how it shapes up after that. So initially, they're going to sell strength against that 75.65s, the 75s, the 75.90s, 7600s for rotations back down. They're going to buy weakness 75.45s, 30s, 16 or 15s down to the 7500s for rotations back up. So that's how we get started. Range bound trading, at least to get started. Yeah. And then we'll see if we get the direction. I mean, we have the earnings coming out. The earnings season is starting off well. Nothing too crazy. And then now we'll see how the reaction is to that IBM report. That could be something which causes a little bit of heartburn today. Because everyone is looking to see if this AI spending is going to grow. People are going to pull back on stuff. This is more of a traditional software pullback in favor of AI spending. So we'll see how the market digests that. But I was watching a couple of these stocks this morning, and that looks freaking awful. Like ServiceNow is down like $8. Palantir is down like $7. Those are big numbers. Anyway, and IBM I think was down like 65 or $67 or something like 25% down or something crazy. So yeah, that's a big move in IBM this morning. Now looking at the Nasdaq, Nasdaq also trading in the middle of this range. Also looks like it's shaping up. It's a lot more range though. It's like from the 30,070s down to the 240s, 29 to 40s, about an 800-point range, 8 to 900-point range. A big range, and they're swinging back and forth in that range pretty violently. So I may have to compress my F2. My F2 right now is at, I have my compression at 26 ticks to aggregate. And I may have to increase that because that may not be enough, the way this is shaping up. But starting off range bound on the Nasdaq too. The overnight, it retraced pretty good. You see yesterday's overnight pulled back pretty good. Day session was down here testing that for the 400s. The overnight kicked off and then took it all the way down to the 300s before they reversed it. Now they're right back up again, trading in the not quite the middle, but getting close to it. So I would start off range bound on Nasdaq. I tell I'm watching this lower range, the 280s on the F1 and the 30,100s on the upper edge, and those two are that's your range definition. So if they take out the upper edge, may have a long direction going. The lower edge, we may be in trouble. But to get started this morning, I'm not going to be that crazy. I'm just going to look to sell this against the 620s, the 670, 660s, 740s up to the 800s here. That would be my initial range to get short against. And I'm looking to buy against that 540s, 470s, 400s, maybe down to that 300 level for rotations back up again. So those are the levels. You just start taking out the session lows here at the 300, 310. You're going to be awfully close to them. We are getting right into that. We are right into this lower range at that point. You can see how that overnight was down in that range already, testing it. So they start taking out the session lows. We maybe have a little bit of a problem going, but it's a little bit too early to say. And if they for some reason start retracing to the upside based on the bank earnings and what looks good so far, that would be a pretty good sign. I would probably start leaning in on the long side after they take out yesterday's day session high here at the 730s, and the confirmation you get past the 800. But in these two areas, I would probably start thinking, okay, maybe start looking for a trade to the upside here, and a go with type of trade. So mornings tend to be pretty darn stressful in terms of volatility, and I've seen that the afternoons tend to calm down, and we tend to get the direction, a light direction up or down, grinding one way or the other. Hasn't been the big roller coaster back and forth for a while, so it's chances are we're going to get more of the same, which means that you have a sloppy, volatile morning, and then you get a little bit more of a directional move, a little bit lower volume in the afternoon. But we'll see how that shakes out today. We got a lot of news happening here, but right now we're starting off the ES and NASDAQ range band. We know what the levels are, and then let's see how they react to the news coming out in about 10 minutes. Finally, the bonds. Well, let me see here. Bond market. They're down here to the 110, 13, 14, are drifting lower in the overnight. So bond market is kind of drifting back down again, you know. Not necessarily happy about that, but it's, as you see, these last few days I haven't put it there, but you see a slow drift to the downside here. So yields are slowly creeping higher, bond price is going lower, and we have taken out this edge right now, and we're heading lower. And right now we are heading down to test these 109.16. That's kind of the target looks like. So yields heading lower. Sorry, yields heading higher. Prices heading lower. Yields heading higher. Did that wrong? But yields heading higher. That's going to be it's going to be an issue for the economy, and it's going to be an issue on the financial markets. So we'll see. It's not by any means selling off, and bottom is not falling out of the market, but it's not a great sign at all. So could be a concern about inflation. It usually causes people to want to have higher yields. Could be something else behind it. It's hard to say. Besant is not saying too much. I haven't heard too much about from the Treasury when it comes to what the bond market is doing. But I would just trade it on the short side right now, at least the futures, and see what they're going, how far they're going to take it. So initially, I'm going to look for short setups against this. Take this away. I'm going to look for short setup against string. Initially against that 110.22, 110.26 to 28. And if they start taking out the 28s, maybe look for a retracement back up here to the 11.04s. Could be a small long trade in there. But we'll see. There's going to be some reaction on the bond market as well as this CPI comes out. So we'll see if that's going to be directional or not. If it's directional, we may want to trade it in that direction. But on the bond market, you had to be careful summertime trading on the interest rate news or inflation news, because you're going to get you may get just one big bar and then it just backs off from there, or you get one big bar a little bit back off and then they keep going. So it's hard to say which one they're going to do until you have to give it a little bit of room there. But initially, if you get the big directional move, the default trade is really to trade with it and see how far you're going to take it. So we'll see how the bond market reacts to the CPI. That's going to be very interesting. But right now, they're to the downside. I'm looking to sell at order strength if they're not going to be a big directional move. So we'll see how that shakes out. Finally, crypto-wise, you can see oil prices are up. They're trading at 80 right now. You can they're swinging wildly back and forth on the cryptos right now, wildly. And you can see, go back here. It's been net to the upside, but they've been pretty good move here. So this is all related to the Iranian situation right now. So we'll see. I was surprised to hear it though this morning that they informed Congress that they started the 60-day clock for kinetic action. So yeah, the Iranians are going to get hammered. I'm going to finish the job there, and then we'll see what happens. So Silver up, gold up a bit, but yes, not necessarily in a big way. So silver still trading below 60, gold still trading right about 4,000. They're big both up today. Uh, Oil is the one to watch, and it's swinging wildly back and forth here. So I'm watching oil futures as well on the CME. Not trading that anymore because it's just too crazy. And they started raising the commission rates on the oil and gold, so on micro gold, micro oil. So I kind of stopped trading it. So I focus a little bit more on the Coinbase futures. So you get some action going there. But it's so Bitcoin is a little bit back and forth. They're still around 63,000 euro. The Ethereum futures at about 1,800. So going sideways, not much happening there. I had a little go there for a bit, but then they kind of backed off again. So they have been under some pressure for sure. Now back to the ES and the Nasdaq. I haven't done any trading on those futures, but I made a look at some oil future trading on the on Coinbase today. So those futures contracts trade a lot smaller. So it's not a buck; it's a 10 cents a tick on that futures contract. So it's a little bit more tradable, especially when it's swinging wildly. All right, back to the ES and Nasdaq. We got about 8 minutes before news hits the CPI number. So we know what we're starting off range bound, watching for a potential directional move. If you don't get it, we fall back on the analysis, and I will take it from there. Alrighty, guys, good trading. I'll see you back at 11:30 for the next update. Let's go at this. Alrighty, guys, later.